betrayed by some people, been uplifted by others. This is a request to people to come along with this philosophy that tomorrow is going to be a good day and a good place. Matt Goss, I love it. That is such a brilliant message. And I do want to come to all of that, but my first thought, Matt, hearing what you had to say is, who betrayed you? What went on?
I think it's more important to not focus on who betrayed me, but the light that it shines upon the people that didn't. It really is about changing your position and the way you look at life rather than focusing on the bad. It really does illuminate the good in my life and the people that have really stuck by my side and the people that I stay beside too. And I think during these times we've been forced to address certain things within our own life, our relationships, even, the grief that I went through. I think I buried that in my work. And during lockdown, I was forced to face things head on and also accept things that were not meant to be in my life and move through them with, hopefully with grace and just an acceptance, probably the key word for me.
Well, of course, because for the first time in such a long time, Matt, you weren't able to perform, and that has been your lifeblood. And I want to talk about that in just a moment. But first, you did quite an incredible thing. You started these live streams, these live performances on social media with your fans. And that was at the height of the fear and all of the terror around COVID, but also the impact of lockdown. And there was this extraordinary moment during one of your live streams when a fan revealed to you that she was intending to take her own life.
Yes.
And you stopped the live stream immediately. And Matt, what happens?
Well, I didn't stop the live stream. What happened is I asked immediately, are you in danger right now? Because I will call the authorities and make sure that, because I wasn't qualified to obviously take a position where I could save somebody's life from the other side of the world. But once I'd established that she really wanted, I said, "You want to be heard? Can we stay and listen to you?" And it really came down to her wanting to be heard and loneliness throughout. I actually ended up speaking to 300 people on my lives, and I promised my fans that I would stay a familiar face, and people that were not my fans, frankly, and just come on and be a familiar face that could contribute. And we ended up speaking for almost an hour and a half with 20,000+ people sending her messages of love. And it really came down to listening to her and listening to where her pain was coming from and slowly unraveling, if you like, a solution. And we kept an eye on her for the next 2 or 3 weeks, and she came through the other side. And it just gave me a beautiful sense of purpose. But there was another young man. He was being bullied at work, and he's 24 years old, and his name was Adam. And I never forget, he was very, very timid and completely, like, almost crippled by shyness and being bullied at work. And I made it very clear to his boss at work that if we didn't address this issue, I said, it's his God-given right to go to work and enjoy himself at work. And now this man is boxing like myself. He's sorted out his hair. He's taking care of his skin. He's using moisturizer, and it's about really connecting with people and really trying to lift people up.
How great that you were able to do that. But you did make some big decisions yourself, though, Matt. And the first decision that you made really shocked me. You said you weren't going to perform live again. But you then changed your mind on that, but did decide that you wanted to quit Las Vegas and return home to the UK, which I think is great news, obviously, that you're coming back. But can you just explain what took you to that place where at some point you were questioning whether you wanted to keep performing? Because I know you, Matt, and performance is in your blood. It's what keeps you going. So what happened for you to get to that place?
To be honest with you, Dan, I was doing 120 shows a year. If you think the average world tour is 80 shows, I was doing, I was doing a world tour every year for 11 years. And I was it was like an affirmation. I was considering doing another show, extending my contract, and I just realized that I wanted to see the world again. I wanted to come home. I've lost some big figures in my life: my mother, my sister, and the British public feel like my extended family. And I knew if I really wanted to see the world again, and rather than just going to one venue and, if you like, having the world come to me, and just, that's what Las Vegas is. I knew I had to write the best pop record of my life and dig in and make big decisions. And I just couldn't go to that same venue again. It was just wearing my voice out. I didn't want to play piano. I didn't want to touch my guitars. I didn't want to write a song. And during the lockdown, when I was connecting with my fans, and again, as I say, the people were not my fans, just people, and digging into the human condition, I realized that they wanted me to write a pop record. They didn't want swing. They didn't want the jazz stuff. They wanted a pop record. And it was actually very, very heartwarming in a way, because that's a world that I understand and I've also missed.
It's where you come from, of course, the big pop hits. And Matt, at one point, Bros was going to release an album and you were going to go down that big pop path. With your return to the UK, does that possibly come back onto the agenda?
Yeah, I mean, my brother's really found his place. He loves to paint. He's been painting. He's doing very, very well. And he's also done very well in movies. But his love right now is painting. I'm so proud of him. He's very committed to that. In regards to myself, I'm committed to this album. I did 20 interviews today across the world, mainly in Australia today. But then after that, I think both me and my brother have said that we will then dedicate some time to actually finding each other's language, if that's possible musically. We've learned to speak each other's language as men, but as musicians, I think that's going to be quite a challenging thing. But we're going to consider possibly doing another film and another album. That's all going to be at the end of next year.
Well, yeah, we have to talk about the film, actually, Matt, because it was BAFTA nominated. It got you a whole new fan base, but it was also really controversial as well. So just to remind people, this is a look at after the screaming stops, and we'll discuss it off the back.
We went around the whole entire planet, selling out arenas and stadiums.
I was one of the most recognisable people in the world at that point.
They're just so gorgeous! We created mayhem and mania wherever we went. Are you ready to rock? This is official, Matty. I'm leaving the band. Ross is done.
It was probably the most painful professional moment of my life.
If me and my brother can get back to the energy that we when we were 8 years old.
Speak. I'm going to speak. You're going to speak. You're going to speak, are you? Let me tell you yourself.
We need to fix this.
I mean, Matt, I absolutely loved it because you guys both laid it all on the line. But some people ask the question, were you being taken advantage of? Did the producers show too much? Were they at certain points of the film sort of almost taking the mickey out of you? But if you're considering doing a sequel, you obviously don't feel that way.
I don't think they were taking advantage of us. I think that we didn't want to create a documentary, a movie about how wonderful and fluffy and kind the music industry is. It's a tumultuous place to be, and I think
it's not. Certainly not.
No, and we wanted it to be warts and all, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I think that's what the movie was. I think some of the quotes were taken out of context, and context, as you know, is everything. Yeah. You can isolate a quote and or a soundbite, and that's exactly what it becomes. But we saw the funny side of it, and I think me and my brother realized that our friendship as brothers was far more important than any argument or any disagreement. I didn't understand or know how much pain he was going through, and vice versa. He didn't know what I'd gone through. So it was a very tumultuous journey. Back then, you didn't have Instagram or a forum like this where you can go on and correct an interview. You would have to live with a headline for 2 or 3 weeks, and then your next interview, you would have to correct that headline. Now you can just go on your phone and go, hey, that wasn't the way it was, and you can correct it, which creates more responsible journalism, and it creates a conversation, which I think is important.
Yeah, well, you certainly created a conversation. It was a conversation that had everyone around the world talking about Bros, which I guess for your brand...
And you did win the BAFTA as well. It won a BAFTA. Three nominations, one. It won, yeah.
Congratulations. Matt, is it true that you have found love in lockdown?
I'm certainly speaking to somebody, and it's a nice experience where I'm getting to know this person, and but most people know I'm very, very private about my personal life, and that's just the way it's going to stay. If I was ever to get married, I think it would be a big grandiose statement. I just don't believe. I was actually speaking to my therapist, and she said you have the right to have a private life, and it's going to stay that way. Yeah, but I'm enjoying getting to know somebody, so that's nice.
Well, I'm glad you're happy. Look, we've got loads of questions, Matt, pouring in from our brilliant viewers, so I need to get to them or they'll be very annoyed with me. So let's go first to Craig from Twitter, who asks, what was it like working with the music legend, Mr. Paul Oakenfold, on Firefly?
It's one of my favourite songs, probably one of my favourite lyrics I've ever written. It was just, it's a beautiful song, extremely dark song, but working with Paul, he's a master at the house, certainly the godfather of house. And me and Paul both live in Los Angeles. So we've known each other for a long, long time. We've actually done quite a few projects together, and everything we did, that was number one all over the world. And I love working with him. It's just, he has a true understanding of that medium, and I think we make a good team because I'm a good top melody guy.
David, also via Twitter, asks, why do you spend £3,000 on a pair of shoes? Does anyone need to spend that amount for a pair of shoes? And this is referencing, apparently, your appearance, Matt, on a TV show called Shopping with Keith Lemon.
Well, I think that, first of all, everybody has the right to do what they want to do. If I'm able to spend £3,000 on a pair of shoes, then I will.
And you've worked hard for that money.
Yeah, I've lost money. I've lost everything, and I've built it up again. And my favourite shoe designer is an English designer called George Cleverly. Made shoes for Winston Churchill, Prince Charles, Jason Statham, Dwayne Johnson. Sometimes you just got to go out. If you fancy a pair of shoes made by the best shoemaker in the world, then you should do it. I don't really have an answer, except that if that's what I want to do, that's what I'm going to do.
Good on you. A deep one from Libertarian, who asks, does fame bring happiness?
It's a really good question. I think that I would have thought back in the day it may not have done, but I think that it's given me a lot of happiness. I'm not one of those moaning celebrities that tries to hide. And I mean, I love my privacy, but I will say that the British public and public wherever I go, my life is with people, conversations, hugs, reminiscing. It's become something that's very normal to me, and people treat me with great respect as I treat them with great respect. And it gives me a lot of happiness to be known and to be a familiar face where people feel that they can come up to me and just converse. It's a place of privilege for me, at least.
And Caroline, via GB Views, asks, when can we have a follow-up to When the Screaming Stops? And adds, have you thought about a reality show with Luke? So she wants this to go one step further and invite the cameras in permanently. I
don't think you guys are ready for a reality show with me and Luke. It would just be that beep, 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 beep. I don't think you're ready for that. But I would love to do another film with Luke. The creative process of trying to learn each other's musical language, to see, because we both love very different kinds of music. So it's definitely something we both want to do.
Brilliant. Well, look, Matt, when are you back? When do you arrive back in the UK?
I am currently in a very, very well-known London hotel right now.
You're back. Amazing.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
I'm extremely excited. I know.
It is great.
I have jet lag. I have jet lag, and I am so happy to be in this wonderful country that I'm so proud of.
Well,
And just my love to you and your viewers.
You are where you belong, and people are very delighted to see you back. And of course, the opening track, Somewhere to Fall, available now. It's got a great music video, actually. I was watching it earlier on your YouTube page. It's a really, really good clip.